Well, welcome back to day 5. Hopefully, you're starting to feel a little more comfortable with Onshape and how to design things in it. Today, I'm going to be talking about dimensioning and constraining objects, which can be an extremely critical component to designing really anything that functions properly. As always, I'm not going to cover everything that's documented. I'm not going to read the document to you. You're capable of doing that. I'm just going to show you some of the tips and tricks and some of the things that you have to do in the work for this day and for this week. I am going to try something a little bit different today. You'll hear a little bit of background music. You guys can tell me if you like that or not, and I'll do it for this day. And then if we like it, then I'll do it in future videos. If not, then I will discontinue the background music. So here we go. First of all, I need to sign into Onshape, and then once I'm in Onshape, I need to go in and create a document, and I'm going to call this day 5. Ain't it funny how the simple things in life are the only things that really matter? Your life is complicated, found your dream. All right, I'm in here in this view that we should be pretty familiar with at this point. So one of the primary concepts that they mention in the document is design intent. There's a purpose for things we design, whether it's a leash or for your dog, or if it's the latest greatest computer case or whatever it happens to be. Even if it's something like a drone or any of those components are going to have a specific purpose to them. And the purpose and how they interact with other components is an important part of design intent. So what is my goal behind the object? Does it need to be flexible? Does it have certain things that it needs to do? So that's kind of your design intent, is what the purpose of this thing that you're designing is. And that should always be kept in mind when you're putting together your design, is does it answer the questions or the things you need out of the design intent? So it talks a little bit about constraining objects and what kind of some of the basic things are about them. So let's go ahead and go straight into creating a new sketch. And in here, by the way, that's the N key for shortcut for normal, which will put you normal to the plane. And then what we're going to look at is we're going to draw some things. So I'm going to draw a line starting at the origin. And I do want to point out that whenever we're drawing any of these things, I cannot overemphasize enough how critical it is that your drawings start at the origin. If you don't have anything anchored to the origin, then it doesn't know the relationship between the different things you're drawing. So whatever it is you're doing needs to start at the origin, otherwise you're going to run into issues. So here's my origin. I'm just going to draw a line straight out here like so. And once I've done that, I'm going to hit escape just to get out of the line drawing mode. And then once I do that, I can click on this end here and I can drag this line around because it's not constrained. It's not dimensioned. I can make it longer and shorter. So once I've done that, you'll notice that as I drag it to different parts, you'll see this dashed line occur. That's called auto inferencing, and basically it's kind of like a snap to feature. So if I have other objects that are nearby it, like say I had a rectangle here, it would try to snap to that rectangle rather than just kind of floating out here. So it's going to make some assumptions based on where you drag this line. So notice that I didn't go straight to the line, but as I got closer, it just popped into place because it assumed that I'm trying to go in this direction. So you'll notice that once it's inferenced, it likes to stay in that direction for the most part. It's not going to move around as easily as if I'm just out here in space. So I'm going to create a square using nothing but lines. So I'm going to create my sketch. That's the plane. I'm going to click on my line tool here. And again, I could just delete that too. I just want to start fresh. But I'm going to click here. And I'm going to go up to about here. And I'm going to draw across. Now, you notice as I started drawing, it made the assumption that these are perpendicular. And you'll see that dashed line showing that it's auto-inferencing that. I'm going to drag this down here. And you'll notice again, as soon as I hit that vertical kind of plane there, it's going to auto-inference it, and then it's going to auto-inference it again, and you'll see that auto-inference it back to the image. All right, back to the origin. Now you notice I started at the origin, always start there. You'll notice that these two lines are black, which means they are fully constrained, and these two lines are blue, which means they are not fully constrained, which means that I should be able to come here and grab this. Oops. I should be able to come here and grab this and drag it. And you see that square can be a number of different sizes, which for right now is good. But if I had other things attached to it, if I had other things around it, that might be bad because when I start putting things into 3 dimensions, it could screw up. It could make some very bad things happen in terms of how the design is supposed to look. So I need to tell it, hey, these have to be a certain size, certain location, etc., in order for it to work. So I want the sides to be equal to each other because the design intent of a square is that all the sides have to be equal. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down and I'm going to click here, and you'll notice that you have a number of different constraints items here. So in this case, I want them to be equal. So I can click all 4 of these and say equals, and now they're all equals. Now you'll notice that they still are not black. So there's something else going on here that I need to tell it in order for it to be fixed. So I've made this constraint that they're all equals, but I need to tell it how big it actually has to be. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to dimension this. So I'm going to click on this tool here, which is a dimensioning tool, or you can just hit D. And I'm going to click on this line here, and I'm going to click there. And you'll see that it automatically gives you the ability to type. I'm just going to hit 2, hit enter, and now you'll notice that this box is fully constrained. All the lines are black. That is what you want to see. If you see a blue line anywhere, it means it's not fully constrained. You will run into issues when you get further down the road. It may not seem like a big problem now, but if this is a smaller part that's part of bigger things, when you start moving around and simulating, it will do weird things for you. So make sure that you constrain it properly. So I dimensioned this square to 2, and since all the sides are equal, they all went to the same size. So this square is now what we would describe as fully defined. Now, I want to make a circle, so I'm just going to click my circle here, and I'm going to click here and draw it. And what I want is I want this circle to be tangent or touching this side. So there's a tangent constraint. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click here. Oops, I keep forgetting to deselect the tools. So I'm going to click here, and I'm going to click here, and then I'm going to say tangent. Boom, now it is locked. So what you'll see now is I can move that circle up and down that line as much as I want because it's now locked into where it has to be on this line. So if I try to drag it way down here, it shouldn't jump out. It'll lock itself back in. Okay, so now that it's tangent there, I can drag the edge, make it bigger, smaller. I can also give it a horizontal constraint. So what if I want the center of the circle here to be at this top edge? What I can do is I can say click this circle here and click this point here, and I'm going to make them horizontal. So now it's locked into this corner, so it's even more defined. And now I'm going to actually dimension it. And so I'm going to click D, click here, and I'm going to do a 1-inch diameter. Now, you'll notice that this little sign here, that little circle with a line through it, that's diameter. If you have a radius, it will be just an R. So depending on if you're using arcs versus circles and where the circles are located, all those kind of things, those two symbols will vary. But this little circle with a line through it is a diameter, and R is a radius. So what I want to do now is just see where are all the things that I've defined in this sketch. So if I click Show Constraints here, you'll see here's my equals, here's my vertical, horizontal, horizontal. Those were all those auto inferencing that it did. There's my tangent that I created. There's my horizontal. You'll notice that when I mouse over them, it tells me what things are equal. So if I mouse over these, you'll see that they're equal. You'll see that this is a perpendicular. And so it highlights the things that are included in that constraint. So that's how you can see what constraints you have, and maybe you might be missing one, or if you want to get rid of one, let's say I want to get rid of this horizontal one, I can click on it, hit the delete key, now it's gone. You'll notice though that now my circle is no longer fully constrained, so I'd want to go back and oops, I don't want to go back and select those, and I believe it chose horizontal. Now it is fully constrained. So that's how you can create a square very simply, and making sure that's fully dimensioned and constrained. Again, I cannot emphasize enough, if your drawing is not all black, you have blue somewhere, that is a problem. So you need to make sure that you fix it ASAP. So that's the end of this video. There will be another video where we're going to talk about construction lines and some other important ways of finding things and referencing things in sketches.